there are like so many B2B brands or SaaS brands, and even taking AI into picture now, I think there are like so many commonly overused words and jargons that we necessarily don't realize it, but then we like put it out. I think Speedy was one such example. And there's always like data driven, there's always like the analytics, the dashboard that you need, and like just using fancy terms. So you've spoken in length at many articles and citations about the bar test and the Cinderella spectrum. So could you tell what entails in both of these concepts, and how can somebody get started in understanding if they're really using these jargon terms, and how to like stop that?
Yes. Jargon, I feel like I'm on a quest against jargon, honestly. Like that is one of the things that I really try to edit out of all of the companies that I work with. There are some words that are just general business jargon that I just cancel out of all messaging.
Mhm.
And these are words like leverage, enable, empower, incentivize. That's not even a word. There's a
Yeah.
lot of words that I just like cross out, and utilize. That's another one. Cross it out, put use. Like there are words that you just should not be using. And one of the reasons that I think you should not be using them is that your target audience doesn't speak like that. And you mentioned two of the frameworks that I like to use. The Cinderella spectrum is really just a way to map out your benefit. So if you think
Mhm.
about your benefit, it can be quite functional, or it can be very emotional, or it can be somewhere in the middle. So I'll give you some examples. If you think about Peloton, I'm a huge Peloton fan. The functional benefit, which was actually their homepage messaging when they first launched, was join studio cycling classes from the comfort of your home.
Mm.
That is exactly what it is. Like when
What
they
they
had
do.
only the bike and streaming classes, right? Join studio cycling classes from the comfort of your home. We can understand it. It's a great summary. It's a great H1 message for their homepage. Now, a lot of their messaging is like, together we go far, be the best version of yourself. It's much more on the emotional side. They earned the right to do that because we all understand
Mm.
what Peloton is. If they had come out and talked about together we go far, and we did not know that it was a spin bike, premium subscription with a nice piece of hardware that you put in your living room that emulated the spin classes that you used to go to a studio for, that would make no sense. And so a lot of founders, they go right to the together we go far before they've explained and
Right.
earned the right to say that. And so the Cinderella spectrum is just a fun little exercise where if you think about the story of Cinderella, which we all know, on the very functional side, this is the Disney princess tale. She was a girl who grew up with fairy godmothers, and then one day she found out they were magical, and they turned her pumpkin into a chariot, and she went to a ball. That is the functional story. On the very emotional side of the story, she lived happily ever after with like her dream life, blah, blah, blah. And in the middle,
Mm.
it was like she went to the ball with the glass slipper, she married a prince. And so you can kind of map out any story, whether it's your company
Mm.
story. I use Cinderella as an example, from the functional to the emotional. So on the Peloton one, the functionals join studio cycling classes from the comfort of your home. The emotional one's about together we go far. And they have stuff in the middle too, which is like the bike that's ready when you are. Like that's kind of in the middle. So anyway, you can do that for your company, and I would encourage people to do. And then if you're an early stage founder, I would err on the side of functional. And then I would
Mm.
grow into the more emotional. And the
Mm.
bar test is really a role playing exercise to get away from all the jargon. And what that is you pretend you're two people at a bar in your target audience, and you have the first person say, "Oh my gosh, I just started using product name." And then the other person goes, "Oh, cool. What is it?" And the
Mm.
first person has to go, "It's this new category that benefit." That's all. And they have to say what you wrote down as your category and your benefit. Now, if they have to say, "It's this new all-in-one analytics platform that enables me," like they're just not going to say that. And so it gets you away from using those words. So
Yeah.
that's the first step. And then the second step is after you nail your category and benefit, back to the role play. It's this new category that benefit. The other person goes, "Huh, cool. Tell me more." Or, "Huh, cool. How does it do that?" And then the other person goes, "Well, unlike competing alternative, it
Mm.
differentiator." And they really have to say those things out loud. And you have to keep editing until you get to a place where this is something that two people in your target would actually say to each other when they weren't there, back to the
Mm,
idea of what's a brand? It's what people say about you when you're not there, right?
exactly.